So what do you think? We're looking for, let's say, the side of this, the length of this. Could this be 8?
No.
No, right? Could this be 4.95?
No.
Why not?
Oh wait, it could, because like it's the sides are not the same.
Yeah, so it could be 4.95. Could it be 5.5?
Yes.
So here, let's do a quick check actually. If you do 5.5 squared plus 5.5 squared, the square root of this, what do you get? Because it cannot be 8. This side is always the longest. It also cannot be 7 because it's a scalene triangle. That means all sides are different. So the answer is between 4.95 and 5.5. But we have to now check which one of them, right? Which one of them is going to give us a 7? I think one of them will give us a 7. So I'm going to try for both of these. Why am I trying it? I'm trying it because it could be that both of these sides are 4.95. And that means that's not our answer because for this question, all sides have to be different lengths, okay? Why don't you try plugging the top one in your calculator? Tell me what you get.
I got 7.7.
Right. So if both the sides were 5.5, then the hypotenuse would be 7.7, yeah? And if both the sides were 4.95, the hypotenuse is going to be 7. So what's our right answer here? Is it B or C?
B.
It's not B, it's going to be C, because if the answer was B, that means both of these sides are equal, right?
Oh, okay.
So we cannot have both sides equal. That would be an isosceles triangle. So that's why we did this check. Now, if both the sides are 5.5, then you'll get a different hypotenuse. But what that means is that one of the sides is 5.5 and the other is probably like 3 point something or whatever. Okay, so the answer here is C, not B. All right, what's going on in this question? So there's 5 people, 5 students are walking in a single file. That means like in a line. It says Devon is not second. So this is not Devon. Wendy is just behind Devon. Hannah is just behind Catherine, who is not third. Gregory is neither first nor last. Okay, this one is a little bit complicated. So Gregory is neither first nor last. So who could be first and last? Well, there's no way Devon is last, right? Because Wendy is behind Devon. So in the last position, you can either have Hannah or you could have Wendy, right? Could you have Catherine in the last position?
No, because Hannah's behind Catherine.
Exactly. So in this position, you can have Hannah or what are the other persons? Wendy. So in this, you can either have Devon, right? Or Catherine. Yeah? You could also have Gregory, though. You could also have Gregory. What about in this position? Who can you have here?
You can have Devon.
Yeah. Can you have Catherine here?
You can't.
You can't. It says Catherine is not third, so Catherine can't be here. Yeah? But you could have Gregory here as well. Could you have here? Again, you could have Gregory here. And it says Devon can't be second, right? So you can't have Devon there. Can you have Catherine there? Yes, you can. Yeah? That means here you can also have Hannah. Because H always follows the K, right? And then finally here, you can't have Gregory there. Can you have this guy here, Devin?
Yes.
Yes. So that means Wendy is gonna be here as well, right? Can you have Catherine here? Yes, you can. Yeah. And that means Hannah is behind Catherine. There we go. So now it says, who is third in this loop? So each person, right? Each person can only occur once, yeah? So if we look at our tables here, if we pick Wendy here, do this. See, if we pick this, in the last, we know we can only have H or W. If I pick the bottom one here, right? If I go in this direction, see here, Catherine's gonna repeat, our G is gonna repeat, our W is gonna repeat. Yeah. So this probably is not the right one here. What about this one? So we only can have, so H, and this you just have to kind of guess a little bit. And there we go, that works. Actually does it? No, it does not.
But Hannah is supposed to be behind Catherine.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go this way. Hannah's supposed to be behind Catherine, right? And we know Wendy is supposed to be behind Devin. So the middle guy must be Gregory. That's the only way it can work, right? Is there anything? No, it does not. So there we go. Who's in third? Gregory. How do you know? Right here. So this one was a little bit complicated. You kind of had to think about it. Not sure why it's in this chapter, but I guess it just comes to problem solving. So this one, suppose that you know the measure of the angle with a check mark. Right, we can say this angle with a check mark is x. Okay. Can you determine the measures of all the angles marked with dots? Why or why not? Let's look at this one at a time. Actually, we don't even have to say it's x. You can just put like a 10 or something. Let's say this is 10 degrees. Yeah? What would this be?
170.
Yeah, that's right. Any other angles in that triangle that we know? In the bottom triangle? Actually, if you look at this, this cannot be 10, so that's my bad. This is an obtuse angle, right? If you have something like this is 90 degrees. If you have something like this, it's greater than 90, so it cannot be 10. We can make it 110. Yeah, that's more like it. So that would mean this side is 70. All right, let's look at this bottom triangle. Do we know any other angles? Can we find any of the other dots here?
Could you do the one at A?
What would A be?
110.
This one? That is not gonna be 110. If you look at it, this would be 110, this one.
Yeah, that's the one I meant.
All right. So using that, I guess we can say this one, right? What would that be?
70.
Yeah. What about this?
Could it also be 70?
No, this is not 70. Look at this. What does this symbol represent? What does this symbol represent? It's an angle. It's giving you an angle.
A right angle?
Yeah, so what's the angle there, the number?
90.
Yeah, exactly. So if that's 90, what would this be? Same thing that we did here. A straight line adds up to 180.
So 90.
Exactly. So if this is 90, this is going to be 90. If this is 90, this is going to be 90. If this is 90, this is going to be 90. You see all the four angles in the middle is 90. Okay. Once you know that's 90, we can find this. So that one is going to be 180 minus 90 minus 70. Yeah. That's 160. 180 minus 160 is 20. And there we go. Cool. We can do the same thing down here. What would that be? The entire thing adds up to 180, right?
It would be 20.
Yeah, and there we go. So we can find all of them. Yes, we can. And this is the method of doing it. Just remember this sign symbol is 90 degrees. This one's another question that you kind of have to think about. It says, how many bananas weigh the same as one cantaloupe? So let's make an equation for this, okay? Let's say this is y. One cantaloupe is y, so we have here two y's, okay? We can say a grapefruit is z, and we can say a banana is a y. Yeah?
But isn't the cantaloupe?
Oh yeah, my bad. I meant x. So banana is an x, and then you're adding that with a z. Okay, so far so good?
Yep.